All right, so in this video here, we are going to be running through pretty much everything that goes into selling info products on YouTube, why it works so well, the three main pillars of why it works so well, how to actually create value-based content so you could pretty much take over whatever niche you're in, whether it's a skill niche, biz op niche, whatever. If you're a creator or you are operating for someone else, I'm going to basically cover how to create basically infinite content that provides tons of value to viewers and essentially pre-sells them to make selling info products very easy. And I'm going to show you a bunch of different examples. You have a sneak peek of them. You could see Alex Hormozy's big face right there. But yeah, I'm going to be running through a bunch of different stuff. Going to try to get through this quick just so you guys could get in and out of this video, get the value, and then dip out. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the first, I was going to say bullet point, but it's a box, I guess. How to sell info on YouTube without looking like a guru. So if you guys have been on Instagram lately, you've probably seen this kid. He had a drink in his left hand, laptop in his right, and a cigar in his mouth. So not only can he not smoke the cigar because he doesn't have a free hand to hold it, he can't drink the drink because the cigar is in his mouth, and he has a laptop in his right hand, which he can't use because he's holding it with one hand. So this is what we are not trying to do, obviously. And this kid already maxed out the guru game. You'll never out-guru him, so don't even try. But anyways, just to get back on track, so why do I say YouTube specifically? Why am I talking about YouTube? So let's cover the three main pillars of why selling info products on YouTube does so well and why it's differentiated from other social media platforms and why I essentially view it that way. So let's get straight into pillar one. Pillar one is essentially the intent engine. So what you want to know here is essentially that YouTube is not a social media platform. It's more so a search engine. So people are going on there and searching stuff like how to do X, what is Y, best way to do Z. And that means that every view you get from search is a highly qualified lead who is actively looking for the exact information that you provide. And the algorithm finds more and more people like them and then pushes the video out to them via the recommendation feature. So no other platform combines active search intent with a powerful discovery algorithm like this. So this is the first point I wanted to get across. And the second point is the unmatched authority and connection that you could build with your audience. So the point here, and these 2 points are connected. So the unmatched authority and connection, they're both connected. But the idea here is that long form video is the ultimate format for building authority within your niche. And you can't prove that you're an expert in a short form, like 60-second clip. But in a 15-minute video, you could do a bunch of different things, from just breaking down a complex topic, showing your entire process, and delivering just immense amount of value in whatever way you can. And this depth that you build with your audience is what builds trust in the parasocial relationship, where your viewers feel like they already know you before they ever speak to you. And this allows you to pre-sell people. They're hopping on calls pre-sold just because they've watched so much of your content, and your content is doing a lot of the work. And yeah, they've watched you solve problems for hours and give out immense value. So they're pre-sold, they're ready to buy, they're hopping on calls with their credit cards out, basically. And pillar number 3 is YouTube videos are essentially evergreen sales assets. So a good YouTube video is a permanent asset that works for you 24/7 for years. A good video you make today can attract the leads, build your authority, and sell your info product in 2028. If it's good enough, evergreen enough, you provide enough value, it's a genuinely good video, and no one has topped it, then it will continue to get pushed out for many, many years, especially if it's super niche, kind of like a tutorial of how to do something or stuff like that. You will completely take over the niche with that. So on platforms like Instagram or TikTok, content has a lifespan of hours or days. On YouTube, you are building a library of digital employees that essentially generate leads and sales on autopilot, powered by the powerful search algorithm. So this is super important to understand as well. There is obviously more reasons why YouTube is so good for selling info products, but these are the 3 main pillars and the way I essentially think about it. So let's get straight to the next one. So now that we understand these 3 pillars and why YouTube works so well for selling info, let's get into actually how do you do it? Like what do you start to implement? Like how do you start to do this? So the first thing here is, just to put it simply, you basically want to give away 90% of the sauce. That is kind of the way I think about it. You want to give away 90% of the sauce, and obviously there's going to be stuff that you need to gatekeep, but this builds immense trust and people really like you for this. A lot of people don't like the idea of giving out a lot of stuff for free, but to put it simply, what you give out is what you get. So here's the thing that you must remember when doing this. Most people will do absolutely nothing with the free information that you give out, and most people are just information junkies. They like consuming information. They'll just sit there, watch a bunch of your stuff, and not implement anything. So you could pretty much give them the whole playbook, give them everything to do, and they will end up doing nothing with the information because most people just don't take action on the stuff that they learn. So what do they end up paying you for? Well, when it comes to coaching programs or anything of this nature, people basically pay for implementation and accountability. This is what you're going to help them. This is what's actually going to help them get whatever result they're looking for. So Google, this is a funny one. Google was invented in 1998, and ever since then, people have been pumping out formulas, explanations, tutorials of how to do pretty much everything under the sun. And what do most people do with it? Absolutely nothing. And that is the point I need you guys to understand. You could give out everything you know, pretty much, drop all the sauce, and just because it's free, people do not value the information. That doesn't mean they won't like you and trust you from it. It's the complete opposite. If you give out a bunch of different sauce, like, let's say, I don't even know. Let's come up with a niche. Let's say it's the fitness weight loss, like fitness kind of like weight loss niche for like older people, and you're just giving out the most advanced information that's actually actionable, that people are actually implementing and getting results with. People will trust you the most because everyone else is gatekeeping that information, and you are giving it out for free, and people will trust you and they'll pretty much buy anything from you. So that's the point. Most people will not take action, like I said, but if you give out the most sauce, the most game, the most unique information that people have not seen before, that's also another key point. It can't be like super repetitive stuff that they've seen like a million times before. It has to actually be kind of unique, actionable, and really good information, and people will trust you and buy anything from you. And there was a point I wanted to make up here. Actually, we're going to get into that in the next section. So now we ran through this. This is the general idea. You want to give away tons of value absolutely for free. And like we covered, most people do nothing with it. So how do you actually start implementing this content? And don't worry, I'm going to get to the actual like funnel strategy, how to actually kind of like capitalize from this later. But yeah, now we're going to get into the specific content strategy. So, okay, now let's get into the content aspect of this. How do you actually create these value-based videos in whatever niche you may be in? So the basic idea here is you want to segment all aspects that go into the business model or skill that you're teaching, or whatever it is you're teaching, and almost break it down into bullet points. So as in all of the steps / mechanisms that go into whatever you're teaching. So I'm going to give you an example here. This example is going to be, for example, if you're a creator on YouTube, you're teaching some kind of a business model, and let's say cold outreach is a component of the business model that you're in. What you would want to do essentially is you would break down all the components as follows. So I just kind of broke this down into pillars because I was doing pillars earlier. So there's that. But basically you want to break it down essentially into bullet points. So you as a creator, you would think like, okay, I run cold outreach for this specific business model that I am teaching. What is every single step that goes into it? So from the beginning, you have defining the ideal customer profile with extreme precision, sourcing leads, verifying emails, segmenting the list for personalized angles, crafting the core offer, writing compelling non-clickbait subject lines that actually work and get opened in cold outreach, structuring the body copy, the art of the CTA, how to properly buy and warm up new domains, setting up the sending software, configuring DNS records, whatever. You get the point. I'm pretty much breaking down everything that goes into cold outreach, from the technical components on the tech stack to actually executing the campaign, crafting the copy and the messaging, and then obviously figuring out who your customer is. So you could make, essentially the idea is you could make a video, similar Miro video to this, Google Doc, just a raw styled video where you're essentially being real with your audience. You're being very chill with them, breaking down everything that goes into this one core component of your business model, which is cold outreach. And you would essentially give away all the sauce, break everything down, explain it super clearly so everyone can understand. And that's an entire video idea right there, super in depth. And then you could basically, I don't know, you could title a video like, if you're in the SMMA space, I guess, so that's a super saturated niche, but like SMMA, full cold outreach course, everything revealed, whatever, you get the point. You just title it like it's basically like a free course that you're giving out on YouTube, and these videos get tons of views and will generate a ton of leads for your YouTube channel and then whatever you're offering as well. I don't know what I wrote down here. So yeah, this alone would be a massive video in a super specified niche subject within the business model you're teaching, and goes way beyond what most people cover. So as a result, You build massive authority, and people will buy whatever you have just because you have given out so much value, and people trust you now just because they clearly, you like, if you published a video like this, people clearly know what you're talking about because you've literally broken down everything. The stuff that you've given out is unique and it actually works and it's up to date, and people will just absolutely love you for this. And the best part is you basically have infinite content ideas because there's tons of different things you could break down in any business model. You could just go through my YouTube channel as an example. Like, there's a bunch of different stuff and sub niches within sub niches within sub niches on my channel that I essentially break down in all these videos and I'm constantly pumping out. So this is super important to understand. And my point here is essentially what you could do is you could take all the core aspects of your business model, break it down into like different segments, and there's always sub niches within these core I don't want to call them niches, within these core aspects within your business model, and you could basically break down a bunch of different things and then create videos on them. So this is all you have to do, and the more niche it is, technically the better, because people are coming in with more search intent. So when you're making these videos, make sure that you're crafting the titles and packaging them in a way that makes sense, and stuff that, like, it's basically stuff that people that are looking to get into that niche would essentially look up. And it has to be niche though. It has to be in a specified subcategory, and then people will just end up finding it, and then you will become the authority within the niche. So I left off here, so let's continue going, because as you can see, I got a little system going on. The Miro board looks clean, but yeah, let's go into the next bullet point here. So within these breakdown videos, you can literally just integrate an explanation of what you specifically as a creator offer to the audience, and just literally rip everyone straight through a Typeform to a call. So when you make these style of videos, people are legit hopping on calls pre-sold. They understand what you offer, and they're pretty much just sitting there with their credit cards out, as I explained before. And a funny thing is, I think I meant to say thing. I wrote this is. A funny thing is, whatever niche you're in, you'll notice whenever other creators in your space post more top of funnel videos and get people into the business model / niche, or get them interested in it, people will eventually find your videos and end up working with you just because you give out the most value and you don't gatekeep. So this is a super important thing, and I've noticed this trend in many other niches. If you are a creator, for example, it's another horrible example, but let's say you're in the dropshipping space and you are a creator, you're obviously teaching people how to get into dropshipping and stuff like that. If you post tons of these niche videos, like I've explained before, where you break down really niche subjects within the business model and explain them very in depth, give out all the sauce, and people just watch them and they know exactly what to do, then whenever other creators in the space, let's say more popular creators in the space are posting videos, but they're gatekeeping a lot of information, they're just super general, kind of like broad style motivational videos, these people will eventually end up keep searching and searching, finding people, and they will end up finding your channel. And when they watch these videos on your channel where you're giving out way more sauce than the bigger creators, you will end up converting them. You will end up converting these people just because you're not gatekeeping. You're giving out all the sauce. People trust you. They know you know what you're talking about, and it's super easy to sell them then. So this is a funny thing I've noticed, and it's something you will notice as well if you implement this for sure. So what's my next bullet point here? Okay, I give an example. Here we go. So a primary example of this is Alex Hormozi. So Alex Hormozi gave out sauce for years and was constantly providing free value. And then when he ripped his most recent webinar, he had cleared $105 million. So he gave out sauce for years. People were learning tons of stuff from him, built up immense trust. And when he actually ran the webinar, people would literally buy anything he offered on the webinar just because people trusted anything that was coming out of his mouth pretty much. And this brings me to my next point. At this point in time, people no longer really buy into the business model. They're buying into the specific person. So they have to like you specifically as a person, and you have to be cool with your audience. That's why this whole gatekeeping info thing and refusing to give out any sauce/game, geez, I'm stuttering so much in this one, doesn't really work. People smell right through the BS and they no longer want to work with you. And that's the whole point. You want your viewers to buy into. That's the whole point. You want your viewers to buy into you as a person. You want them to like you. You want them to relate to you. That's the whole point. And just as an example, another terrible example. I'm not very good at examples, but this example is pretty cooked because but people buy into Brez's program and want to learn from him because they relate to him. He is relatable and real with his audience, and his audience really see themselves in him because he documented a lot of stuff, obviously, from when he started, and a lot of people really relate to his exact position and his exact language, the way he speaks about things, and they trust him because of this essentially. And a good example of this is these types of videos that he pumps out. So for example, he has these GoPro videos where he'll go in his car, drive around, stuff like this, and he's literally just yapping with his GoPro mounted on his head, and people love it because they could relate to him and the stuff that he's saying. He's more so just kind of like talking about motivational stuff in these videos and stuff like that, but people relate to him. They want to be in his position, so they want to be in the position where they could do stuff like he's doing. And then if you've watched any of his videos, you know he's just very raw with his audience, and people love that. I don't know why people love that, but people do love that. Actually, I do know why people love that because they could relate to it. But like I was saying before, but yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go watch this video. Go see how he's just kind of like speaking with his audience. He's being super chill with them, and then you will understand exactly why it converts. All right, so the next little bullet point here is now you don't need to be extreme with it. But I think you get the point. Just be chill with your audience, be relatable, just be a normal person. Don't try to act like some unstoppable guru who's like, I don't even know, the next Andrew Tate or something like that. It just doesn't work, bro. And the whole point is to make your offer feel natural and unforced whilst providing tons of value. This makes it super easy to sell, as I've stated before, because everyone is pretty much pre-sold. They've watched your super in-depth videos, tutorials on super niche subjects within your business model. They see you clearly know what you're talking about. You're giving out tons of sauce and game, and you have absolutely pre-sold them with your content. So whenever you rip any kind of offer, people are pretty much just coming. They already know what it is because you've explained it in your videos. Like I said, like in these super niche videos that you make, you would just like have like a logical extension somewhere where you kind of like integrate a CTA that feels natural, where you explain your entire offer and then what you're essentially offering to your audience, and then push people literally straight through a Typeform to a Calendly. It doesn't have to be any more complex than that, because when people are watching these niche videos, they will understand everything about your offer. You don't need to have a landing page or anything like this. That's primarily for people where people are hopping on calls and they have no idea what you're offering. And if you're able to effectively portray and explain all of this stuff with your content, then there's no need for it. And I think here I gave another example. This is Ben Bader, who has unfortunately passed away actually pretty recently, but his videos were very good and are pretty much exactly what I'm describing here. So if you haven't watched any of his videos before, go and check them out. You will see kind of how he implements this, how he used to implement this specific strategy. And he would literally just go into Google Docs, put together a bunch of different information, and then talk about it for 20, 30 minutes, share stories from his experience, share like student testimonials, stuff like this. And then he would just absolutely drop sauce within all of these videos. There's so much stuff you could learn from going through his videos. And they're literally just ripped straight through a Google Docs. That's pretty much all it is. He's literally talking through a Google Doc. He would be very chill with his audience, and then he would give out a bunch of information. So people love these videos, and people were converting into his program like crazy because they trusted him. So this is a really good example. Go check out his video, see how he implemented this strategy specifically. And that is the entire Maro board, but I just want to essentially recap on the content creation part to make sure that you guys fully understand exactly how to implement this. So as I said here, the idea is you're essentially giving away tons of value in your videos. That's the high level understanding. And to actually implement it, what you're essentially doing is you are thinking about your business model, and you want to think about specific things within your business model, like I explained before. So if cold outreach is a part of that, you could literally take out a piece of paper and then write down everything that goes into, actually creating cold outreach messages, setting up the entire tech stack, everything that goes into it, and then create a very value-based video which explains every single component and goes through the entire thing. And then people within your niche will be obviously looking up stuff like this, because if someone is looking to get into the SMMA space, they'll go into YouTube, and they're going to search like, hey, like how do I do cold outreach for this? And then through that search intent, they will end up finding your videos, and then they will watch the entire video, because you won't believe how good the retention is on these types of videos. People will sit through and they will watch these types of videos. They'll literally be taking notes and stuff like that, and they'll watch these entire videos, and then at the end you've given them so much sauce and game that they literally just trust you at the end of it. And then they will continue to watch more and more of your videos. Your content does all the nurturing. You're explaining your offer in these videos, as I said, as a natural extension of whatever you're talking about. And then from there, you don't even need a landing page, bro. You just qualify them through Typeform, whatever your offer is. If you're running something high ticket, you want to teach people one-on-one how to do stuff, run them through Typeform, get them on a call, and the sales calls are very easy. Literally, people will, if you do this correctly, people should be coming on call and literally just asking you a few questions, and then that's it. And then they're in the program. That's literally all you have to do. So I think I explained it pretty well. Let me know in the comment section down below if any of you have any questions, but it's a pretty detailed tutorial. And as I said, go and check out Ben Bader's channel if you are specifically interested to see how he would kind of run it. He kind of stopped doing it like more recently here, but if you scroll down a little bit, you will see how he was running it in the past. And yeah, that'll be it for this Miro board. But if you are a creator who wants to run their own info offer on YouTube or Instagram, whatever it may be, and you just don't want to run all the back end stuff, like all the funnels, like communicating with all the people, setting them onto meetings, hopping on calls, and actually closing people into the programs, I have a Calendly in the description, so you could book a call. We can kind of discuss through it, where you're currently at, what you're thinking about doing. And I'm not going to be like trying to like sell you or anything like crazy on the call. It's just going to be learning about your current situation, seeing what I could help you out with, if I could even help you out with that in the first place. And yeah, that'll be it for this video. So if you're interested in that, the Calendly's in the description. But anyways, that'll be it.